Good morning, Bucknutters. It is Thursday, September 28th, 2017. I'm Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and Change. If it's Thursday, it can only mean one thing. The lovely and talented Steve Wiltfong, Director of Recruiting for 24/7 Sports. Steve, have you had your smoothie?
Good morning, Daniel. Negative. I'm in my hotel. I'm in Ames, Iowa. I'm going to the Texas-Iowa State game tonight. Been making the rounds in the Big Ten, too. Was at Nebraska on Tuesday and Iowa on Wednesday. It's beautiful out here. There's no traffic. And I'm having a good time, man. How are you?
I'm great. And there's a reason there's no traffic.
There are no people.
But I digress. We are going to do something today I call the Steve Wiltfong Speed Round. Sometimes when there's not any huge news, we like to do a complete review to keep ourselves as educated as possible. And so we're going to run down a list of names in the class of 2018, guys who are not yet committed. Just for a quick update from Steve, some names on here you guys recognize, and maybe a few on here you don't. But you'll be far more educated on the class of 2018 in about 8 minutes. We'll start at the top. The guy you've written about a lot recently. Anyone who read Steve's manifesto on 24/7 right now about Georgia making a push. The last item is on a young man named Rasheed Walker. Go.
The offensive lineman out of Waldorf, Maryland. I've written a couple times as of late that I like the way that this is setting up for Ohio State. My crystal ball is on Penn State, but I need to, at the very least, jump the foggy here in the near future. I see someone else has been reading what I've been writing and put in an Ohio State pick. As I've said, I like the way this is setting up for Ohio State because I don't see him at Penn State anymore as it stands right now. He was at Maryland over the weekend. The Terrapins would love to have him. I think they're very much in it, but this is the type of guy that Ohio State closes late in the recruiting cycle, and I know for a fact they're recruiting him as hard as anybody on their board. He's a coveted recruit for Urban Meyer, Coach Stud and company there in Columbus, and Ohio State's had a lot of success in the DMV with their top targets, and I think that when they get Rasheed Walker to campus, it's going to really completely change the dynamic of this recruitment down the stretch. Now, that's all a projection, but just based on past history with other blue chip recruits in the same position, with the schools that are in the mix, I like Ohio State. Now, Rasheed's going to Virginia Tech this weekend. They're going to have an amazing atmosphere for the Clemson game. That is the biggest recruiting weekend in the country right now. So we'll see how it goes in Blacksburg. So projection pick, I like Rasheed Walker to end up in Ohio State's class.
Here's a name we do know, Tyreke Smith.
Still got Penn State there, but obviously he's going to visit Ohio State for the Penn State game. But he's got an unofficial to Penn State for the Michigan game. He'll return for an official to Penn State in December, whether that's the first or second week. He'll announce his decision at the Under Armour game. So Penn State going to get the last visit for Tyreke. And as it stands right now, everything I'm hearing, I think they're the team to beat. But obviously he's still considering several others. To had a great visit to USC, Ohio State. He's been numerous times. He'll return. And then Alabama and Oregon are the two others hanging in there.
Cameron Babb.
In Ohio State, I believe I predicted him a long time ago. I forget the exact date, but nothing's changed there. He's been Ohio State's top receiver target in this class for the entire cycle, and they've recruited him as such. He has a great relationship with the staff, had great visits every time. I'd be surprised if Cameron Babb ended up anywhere but Ohio State.
What's he waiting for? Isn't he hurt?
Well, I think he's going to come back for his official. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he did it then. And again, he's a young man that is highly recruited and has some intrigue with some other schools. But I just think Ohio State has a huge advantage for him in this recruitment. And anytime he comes on campus, he's on commit watch. You know, a guy like Cade Stover in 19, he's in that same boat anytime they visit. I feel like that could be the end of the recruitment. So we'll see what happens with Cam Babb.
Anthony Cook, the all-star defensive back from Texas.
Yeah, I still think Ohio State leads. All the intel says so. My colleague down there in the Lone Star State, E.J. Holland, who covers the Texas Longhorns, he's as close to that recruitment as anybody, and he continues to believe Ohio State's the team to beat as well. LSU pushing hard there. They may have had a chance to really grab some momentum, and I expect them to get to campus, Clemson, the Longhorns, but I think Ohio State has a really nice advantage, and it's because of the relationships they've built with Anthony and his family and the people around him. They've just done an outstanding job of keeping in touch with so many people in that Anthony Cook network, and everybody's comfortable with the Buckeyes. And obviously the production on the field as a football team, and then developing guys at that position to play at the highest level. All those things collectively give Ohio State the advantage to land five-star cornerback Anthony Cook.
Another name everyone should know by now, and definitely probably does, Jackson Carman.
The number one ranked offensive tackle according to the 24/7 Sports Composite. I still like Ohio State to land him. Clemson and USC, no question, he's seriously considering both of them. He'll announce his decision in December and sign. He'll return to Ohio State on his official for the Penn State game. Was at the Oklahoma game. I feel like they have the local advantage. I don't think he's a lock to Ohio State, but I like Ohio State's chances of landing the five-star recruit.
Defensive end Jason Oweh from Blair Academy in Blairstown, New Jersey.
As it stands right now, I think in the end he'll end up at Ohio State, but he also really likes Penn State, and as we've talked about numerous times, it'll be interesting to see how that defensive end board shakes out in Happy Valley, because I think that they kind of are in the pole position for a lot of guys right now as they battle Ohio State. And Oweh's a guy that goes back and forth between the two schools, but I think that Ohio State in the end right now, as I'm trying to move these prospects on the board, I think he'll end up in Columbus.
These last four to me are arguably the most interesting, just in the we don't know what's going to go on deal. Houston Griffith.
So, yeah, I think he's a guy that Ohio State always has a chance to make a push for, and they remain in touch. I talked to Houston recently, and Florida State, Notre Dame, and Ohio State are the programs he talks to the most, and I could see Ohio State having to push for him at some point.
Nicholas Petit-Frere.
They love him. Coveted recruit at the top of the board, regardless of position. We've talked about that numerous times. And Petit-Frere is playing out his senior season and continues to take the recruiting process slow. I have Florida on the 24/7 Sports Crystal Ball. He's our number one ranked offensive tackle on 24/7 Sports. Florida, it's him and his mom. They're super tight. His mom's a very successful woman down there in the Tampa area. And I just think out of proximity, Florida might have a slight edge, but Alabama, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Stanford, Michigan, he's in touch with all those programs as well, likes them all. We'll see where he takes his officials. I think Ohio State's got a good shot to get an official and then go from there. Greg Schiano, I believe, sent his kids to that school. So Coach Schiano's got huge ins at Nicholas Petit-Frere's high school. And so we'll see what happens. The Buckeyes are recruiting the hell out of him, though.
That would be an unreal pickup right there. We haven't talked about him as much, but that's one prospect that everybody you talk to says, oh, they love him. Oh, they love him, no matter what school or what talent evaluation.
He checks every box.
Yeah.
I mean, he's obviously super smart, so he'll come into your locker room and not only help you have a chance to win the national championship, but that team GPA skyrockets with a guy like him in whatever locker room he's in.
Love it. All right, two more guys. Tommy Togiai.
And I still like Ohio State's chances. We'll see what happens as he continues to take official visits. But right now, I'm still riding with the Buckeyes.
You had Antoine Jackson, Teron Vincent, and Tommy Togiai in one recruiting cycle. and your defensive tackle woes, and I put that in parentheses as a joke, are fixed. All right, here's the last name, and I saved it for last because I had already assumed the ship had sailed with this dude, but you said it has not. So bring us up to speed on defensive back Tyson Campbell.
I think Ohio State's firmly in the top 3, and they're recruiting him. I mean, he's a coveted recruit. If you had to name 5 guys that Ohio State would love to sign on signing day that isn't already committed, he would be in that group. And they've been on him for a long time, and they're going to get him up for an official visit. And my crystal ball's on Miami. They're the local program that's also recruiting the hell out of him. But Ohio State, they're in this one now, and they'll have a really good shot of potentially landing Tyson Campbell come National Signing Day. Solomon Tuliapupu's a guy that'll take an official visit. We didn't talk about him. I think they'll have a puncher's chance at him as well, Daniel.
There you have it, Bucknutters. 11 dudes to keep your eyes on. We will continue to update this as the season goes on and the recruiting cycle matures. Have a good one, Bucknutters.
Appreciate it, guys. Take care.